Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the main news on Camnet TV. Here are the top stories making headlines in our news tonight. 17 suspended members of parliament accuse government of trying to create a one-party state. John Sangwa denounces the recognition of Robert Chabinga as leader of the opposition in parliament. Poor law enforcement prompts vendors to reoccupy streets. In international news, DRC Army and UN forces launch Operation Springbok as M23 threatens key towns. And in sports news, Arsenal boss says it's his duty to defend the club after VAR controversy. To join me with the details after this.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
With the news in detail, my name is Sylvia Zulu. Lusaka Magistrate Irene Wishimanga has summoned the officer in charge at Mwembeshi Correctional Services over the failure to produce an incarcerated Ugandan man who is jointly charged with former Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA Chief Executive Officer Zindaba Soko. When the matter came up for plea Tuesday morning, Magistrate Wishimanga wondered why the accused had not been presented to court. In this matter, Mr. Soko and the two foreign nationals are accused of forging a national registration card number bearing the names of John Tembo, who is deceased, and a Zambian passport in the same name he obtained for a Ugandan man, Kisambara Kelvin Smith.
Former Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA Chief Executive Officer Zindaba Soko failed to take plea Tuesday morning in relation to a forgery case that is facing before the Lusaka Subordinate Court. The case could not proceed because one of the accused that he is jointly charged with was not presented before court. This left Magistrate Irene Wishimanga, who is presiding over the case, to issue summons to the officer in charge at Mwembeshi Correctional Service over the failure to produce an incarcerated Ugandan man who is among the accused persons in the case. Magistrate Wishimanga wondered why the accused has not been presented to court. Mr. Soko is jointly charged with two Ugandan nationals, was informed with his co-accused to appear next in court on Friday the 10th of November 2023. Recently, police spokesperson Ray Hamonga announced through a statement that Mr. Soko's arrest was in connection with a Zambian national registration card number bearing the names of John Tembo, who is deceased, and a Zambian passport in the same names he obtained for a Ugandan man, Kinsawara Kelvin Smith. The former RATSA boss is standing trial alongside Ibrahim Bonga, a 24-year-old student, and Kelvin Smith Kinsawara, a Ugandan businessman. In the first count, the trio is accused of forgery contrary to Section 347 and 342 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. They are alleged to have forged an NRC purporting to show that it was genuinely issued by the Department of National Registration Passport and Citizenship in Lusaka when in fact not. In the second count, the accused are charged with uttering a false document contrary to Section 352. They are accused of uttering the said false NRC in the names of John Tembo to Catherine Chiwe, a banker at FNB in Chilenje, Lusaka. while in the last count they are accused of being in possession of property believed to have been stolen or unlawfully obtained contrary to Section 319A of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. The matter stands adjourned to the 10th of November 2023. The officer in charge at Mwembeshi is expected to appear before court on this day and explain to the court why the first accused person has not been taken to court a month after the matter was presented before the courts of law. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Independent Chiengi constituency member of parliament, Given Katuta, has asked the Lusaka Magistrate Court for more time in order to engage a lawyer in her alleged assault case. When the matter came up this morning, the accused told the court that she was unable to proceed with the case because she is in the process of engaging a lawyer. The lawmaker is appearing before court in relation to an assault of a Times of Zambia journalist. Zambia police arrested the lawmaker on an assault charge following allegations that she spit on Times of Zambia journalist Henry Junza, who was filming her at Parliament when the Speaker of the National Assembly suspended her from the House for 1 week. The matter has since been adjourned to the 4th and for trial. Some traders have abandoned stands in Lusaka's city market to trade from the streets despite the government banning street vending. A check by Camnet TV News has revealed the situation has impacted negatively on those trading in the market who have complained as the business has slowed down as people are not willing to buy from them anymore. Meanwhile, Lusaka City Council Public Relations Manager Chola Mwamba has warned that the council will be compelled to use minimum forces on all traders who have proved to be stubborn.
On 18th July this year, vendors trading from the streets of Lusaka Central Business District were removed, some of whom were given stands in markets such as City Market. Those used to doing business on the street are now returning to their usual trading places, as seen by this reporter. A check by Camnet TV News found scores of traders conducting their business along Lumumba Road, while others openly displayed their merchandise around Kafue roundabout, despite government banning street vending. Some traders spoken to at Lusaka City Market have attributed the trend to low business in the market, coupled with heavy taxes.
Kabwe tinka chetigona kandrama kana kupasa mdala tugulemo vokudya ndeka mlefu tubose benze samuno kulipira msongo kugulamo vokudya kwenda ku toilet muzati chan market mankala expensive. So tiza survive bwanji tugwera muno tubwache kungenesa ndrama
because no market tikabwera kutoka kusezi no kulisa so business with community. So tiro matabe government kuti titandize tinalemba yana setu manamba muzatenga kondrama ma empowerment ndrama na manje tilindira 70% ndrama.
Other traders have accused the Lusaka City Council of not being proactive in dealing with those defying government's directive.
Abantu authority angala pali bajabantu bali panja kubangenesa mukati bakabangenesa mukati bajabantu bopiza mu road bazaleka kupita mu kugula mu road bazamba kugula mu market business zankalamu pali ponse ngati mwapaka tabe business inkalamu kozi bantu swafikira che kugula bantu bakaseruka bazazi batitingera mu market muri bantu
beo tima order beo imozi inkalolo 3 months stigulisa ndrama zitabwandi zingeni aonda manyumba basayi muri njala mlandu wakuti stigulisa abantu bamene batebera mu street 15 hours every day bamangena mu street so lokuti muyende 15 hours 16 bazapezeka bali mu street so bakanso taking action the problem ya minute linayo
bakanso naona tizali serious na nchito yawe yanayamba weka nchito ti bantu bonse bachoke mu street but baoneka mungati bakangiwa nayo nchito
stand muno ali all over the same people amene bali na stand muno that's the same people amene bapezeka bali ku street of which sichintu chamechi funika muntu ajaira binzi tima ikonkera kuti lili ku BH kuja nanga chizakanga ni chani kuti salaula tikaikonkere pa stand yaso So otherwise the government funika change intensify my measures yakwati vantu vabwerere mu street because vachipesa kuona ma accident because just imagine ngati truck ya missing a road isapaya vantu angati.
Meanwhile, Lusaka City Council Public Relations Manager Chola Mwamba has warned that the council will be compelled to use minimum force on all traders who have proved to be stubborn.
For all those traders that are going to prove to be stubborn, the local authority would not hesitate to apply minimum force on them, because we do not expect to find anybody trading in designated areas. With the current situation of cholera issues, we do not expect traders to think of going back to the streets to sell their merchandise because they risk being prosecuted. The local authority would therefore like to appeal to members of the public, especially traders in the city, to comply with the public health guidelines set by the council so that we fight cholera and other diseases together. Other diseases such as anthrax, we need to fight the disease together.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Socialist Party youths have appealed to President Hakainde Hichilema to stop the Registrar of Societies from making changes on the Patriotic Front PF office bearers if he does not endorse the acts. Party National Youth Secretary Gabriel Banda claims the Registrar of Societies has ignored the Patriotic Front PF party constitution to allow the change of the party leadership, and the president should intervene in the matter. Speaking during a press conference in Lusaka Tuesday, Mr. Banda also said President Hichilema has failed to meet the expectations of youths who mostly voted for him, as he has not created the promised jobs.
Party SP youths have accused President Hakainde Hichilema of failing to meet his campaign promises to Zambian youths who overwhelmingly voted for him in the 2021 general elections. Speaking during a press conference Tuesday morning, SP National Youth General Secretary Gabriel Banda says youths in the country have not seen jobs which the president promised.
You visited Munari, you visited Mandevu. The only thing you did was to dig 3 boreholes. How about those youths who shouted for you, Bari, Bari? How many did you employ when you visited these constituencies? Your Excellency, you've been to Northern Province. How many youths who shouted Bari did you employ? You've been to Northwestern Province. You've been to Western Province.
Commenting on the ongoing leadership wrangles in the former ruling Patriotic Front PF, Mr. Banda has appealed to the head of state to call the Registrar of Societies to order following the change of PF office bearers after an impromptu extraordinary general conference which elected Mao Samba as PF president.
Even when she's been given a constitution for a political party, she will not respect that constitution but goes ahead and amends ownership of a political party. If, sir, you don't support what is happening to PF or what may happen to SP tomorrow, sir, stop this happening.
Meanwhile, SP spokesperson Stanley Mbasa has called for the improvement of condition of service for police officers as they are grappling with the high commodity prices in the country.
Is worth 10 kwacha. Now imagine this is a police officer or a civil servant denied an opportunity to allowances which they are supposed to be entitled to, but simply because somebody wants to portray that they are good at management, which they have failed, they deny them allowances. Our people cannot go and buy Kapamela. Our people in the markets can no longer afford this Kapamela.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Speaker of the National Assembly Nelly Muti has suspended 17 members of parliament for 30 days for misconducting themselves in the House. Among those suspended by the Speaker include Kamfisa lawmaker Christopher Kangombe, Brian Munduwile, Stephen Kampyongo, and 14 others for 30 days, and the Speaker hopes the lawmakers will reflect on their actions. Speaker Muti has also suspended Chinsali Member of Parliament Kalalwe Mukosa and Lunte Member of Parliament Mutoto Akafwaya for alleged disrespect in the House. The suspension has also prevented the parliamentarians from enjoying the privileges such as allowances and participation in committees, among others.
In recent months, the tension which has rocked the former ruling party, Patriotic Front, has also shifted to the National Assembly, On Wednesday, 1st November 2023, Luapula Member of Parliament Chandaka Totowe was in a near loggerhead with the now elected president of the opposition party, Mayo Sampa. However, the ruling did not sit well with Shiwangandu and Kamfisa Member of Parliament, who challenged the ruling by Speaker Nelly Muti to allow material lawmaker Mayo Sampa to be in the House. But today, Tuesday 7th November 2023, first thing first, Speaker of the National Assembly Nelly Muti suspended 17 members of Parliament for 30 days for allegedly breach of parliamentary conduct in last week's disruption of the House. Rendering a ruling this afternoon, Ms. Muti indicated that the suspension is effective today 7th November 2023 to December 6th, 2023. The Speaker also indicates that Petaoke Central lawmaker Emmanuel Jeje Banda, who is currently on a 2-week suspension, will finish his suspension on December 24th, 2023, while Mprokoso lawmaker Brian Munduwile and his Shiwangandu counterpart Stephen Kampyongo will be back in the House on 13th December 2023. The suspensions are on grounds of an alleged breach of parliamentary conduct against the presiding officer. The case for Lunte lawmaker Mutoto Kafaya, who has also been slapped with a 7-day suspension for a breach of parliamentary conduct against the presiding officer, is not different.
To suspend from the House, I now put the question. The question is that the House suspends Mr. Sisi Kangombe, MP, and the 16 members of Parliament that participated in the protest in the chamber on Wednesday, 1st November 2023, for a period of 30 days.
The suspension comes amidst a petition by 58 opposition members of Parliament on Friday last week to impeach Speaker of the National Assembly Nelly Muti for breach of the Constitution and poor handling of affairs of the House.
The honourable members, with regard to Mr. K. Mukosa MP, the suspension is with effect to today, Tuesday, 7th November to Monday, 13th November 2023.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Suspension. I thank you.
Opposition members of Parliament slapped with a 30-day suspension have called on stakeholders in the country, including the Church, to speak out on the issues happening in Parliament, which they claim is undermining the country's democracy. Addressing the press shortly after their suspension, former leader of opposition in Parliament, Brian Munduwile, has accused the ruling United Party for National Development to run a one-party state, citing the decision to suspend them from the House. Mr. Munduwile claims that the Speaker has lost her legitimacy and that she cannot continue to preside over the House, hence calling on the Clerk of the National Assembly not to tamper with the motion to have her impeached. Meanwhile, independent Member of Parliament, Given Katuta, says what is currently obtaining in Parliament says democracy is at stake.
Because that house now, it has come, it's an animal farm. I'm sure those who have been following me, I even said it before, and I was chased out of the house by saying, this house, it's animal farm. So today, I'm speaking like a prophet, and whatever I prophesied has come to pass.
What has happened today is very, very sad, especially on behalf of us, the women, who have always supported the call for women to be in leadership. I've heard the Speaker speak so much about the issue of the monies that come with Parliament. It is really nothing.
Must arrive at a point where they say, come on guys, why are we doing this? What are we getting out of this? But for people to continue going in the wrong direction, when all the Zambians are saying you are going the wrong direction, and people are just increasing speed in that wrong direction, it is very unfortunate. You remember, the devil blinds people from seeing reality when they think they're in the driving seat.
Some have been painted to be animals. Honestly, we are all family members of parliament who have wives and husbands and children and grandparents. We cannot turn the house, which is known to be an August house, into a play place. No, but it's due to the attitude and the behavior of the presiding officers.
What they are doing is a dress rehearsal. President Hakainde Hichilema using Nelly Muti, they want to know how it feels to run a one-party state. What they've tried all these years was to try and have a one-party state. They are now doing a dress rehearsal to see how they can run a one-party state. So we are in court. First of all, the decision that they've made today, we are going for judicial review.
Constitutional lawyer John Sangwa has described as lawlessness and anarchy the recognition of Mafinga Member of Parliament Robert Chabinga as leader of the opposition in Parliament without following the procedure provided by the Constitution. Mr. Sangwa explains that the Constitution argues that the leader of the opposition in Parliament must be elected by an opposition political party with the highest number of members of Parliament. Speaking when featured on Phoenix FM's Let the People Talk program, Mr. Sangwa wonders why Speaker of National Assembly Nelly Muti can recognize Mr. Chabinga as leader of the opposition in Parliament when no elections were held.
Last week, Parliament recognized Mafinga Patriotic Front Member of Parliament Robert Chabinga as leader of opposition in the House, replacing Improko solo maker Brian Mundubirem.
I wish to inform the House that I have received communication from the Secretary General of the Patriotic Front PF Party, Mr. Morgan Ngona, to the effect that the party has appointed Mr. Robert M. Chabinga, Member of Parliament for Mafinga constituency, as the new leader of the opposition in the House.
But constitutional lawyer John Sangwa has described this as lawlessness and anarchy, saying this was done without following the procedure provided for by the Constitution of the land.
That is lawlessness. It's complete anarchy. That issue should not even have been a subject of discussion before the National Assembly because it's a subject of litigation before the courts. Now, even if you wanted to go rogue within the law, at least you could say, okay, fine, whatever happens. You could have asked just a simple question. Was there an election? Now, remember, there is already a substantive leader of the opposition. When was this leader removed? Now, if somebody is elected, it means that the people with power to elect must also have the power to remove.
State Counsel Sangwa says it is concerning that all the systems of government, which include the executive, judiciary and legislature, are broken as evidenced by a number of illegalities committed by those in office as a result of abuse of authority, and has since called for a radical transformation of government systems.
You have all these problems with the judiciary, you have the problem with the executive, you have a problem with the National Assembly. Now, these are not things that should be happening after 60 years of independence, after nearly 60 years of independence. These are not things that we should be talking about.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
An economist, Trevor Hambai, has predicted that this decision by the Bank of Zambia to raise the statutory reserve ratio by 3% will negatively affect the country's economy. On 3rd November 2023, the Bank of Zambia issued a circular to commercial banks notifying them that effective November 13, 2023, the statutory reserve ratio will be raised by 3% on both local and foreign currency deposits, including government deposits and virtual account deposits. Mr. Hambai argues that Zambia has been facing cash flow challenges in the market for the past 5 years, and raising the statutory reserve ratio from the current 11.5% to 14.5% will not address the country's underlying economic problems of the country. He explains that raising the statutory reserve ratio means that banks will be required to hold a larger portion of their deposits in reserve with the central bank, which in turn increases cash flow problems.
It depreciated by more than 21%. It is officially the worst performing currency on the global market, and this is what the central bank is trying to stem. There are two implications that are immediate that come from this. The first one is obviously that the private sector is going to have no liquidity to be able to invest back into the economy. This trend has been there since 2015, where government has been using this short-term strategy of having to reduce liquidity on the market to be able to contain inflation, which is being driven by the depreciation of the kwacha. The second aspect that comes into play is obviously that we're going to see a very likelihood that the GDP is not going to grow. There's going to be no growth in the domestic economy because we are not investing any resources and there's absence of liquidity. But also for the ordinary Zambian is that you will find that it will be harder for you to be able to find any cash, which is the same issue that you've been grappling with the last 2 years, where the economy has not had the liquidity to be able to support the surplus expenditure of the ordinary Zambian. And that's why you continue to see how hard it is with the high cost of living, because there's also an absence of liquidity to be able to deal with this high cost of living.
Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Engineer Collins Nzovu, has withheld the decision taken by the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, to cancel its mining license in the Lower Zambezi National Park. Speaking when he presented a ministerial statement in Parliament Tuesday, Mr. Nzovu says he has analyzed the circumstances of the case and in view of the project being located in an environmentally sensitive environment, he has taken view that Mwembeshi Resources Limited owed a higher duty of care to the environment and ensure that they were compliant with the decision letter and conditions before implementations. He says he was guided by the precautionary principle to support measures to prevent environmental degradation and has therefore found that ZEMA was on firm ground to cancel the Mwembeshi Resources Limited decision letter number ZEMA EIS EIA/726.
Speaker, Mwembeshi Resources' response to all the violations I've highlighted before this House were unsatisfactory. And I take the view that Mwembeshi Resources should not have commenced activities in such a sensitive environment without obtaining all the necessary authorizations and complied with conditions of the decision letter. Madam Speaker, the notice of cancellation required Mwembeshi Resources to undertake remedial measures to the satisfaction of ZEMA. I have analyzed the circumstances of the case, and in view of the project being located in an environmentally sensitive environment, I take the view, Madam Speaker, that Mwembeshi Resources Limited owed a higher duty of care to the environment and to ensuring that they were compliant with the decision letter and conditions before implementation. Madam Speaker, I was guided by the precautionary principle to support measures to prevent environmental degradation, and I therefore found that ZEMA was on firm ground to cancel Mwembeshi Resources decision letter number ZEMA EIS EIA/726, and I therefore uphold the decision of the agency.
Energy expert engineer Boniface Zulu says it is high time that the government starts seeking alternative sources of energy in order to cushion the impacts that load shedding on the Zambian people. Engineer Zulu further says there is need for the government to foreign direct investment in solar manufacturing to make it affordable. Engineer Zulu was reacting to the announcement by Minister of Green Economy and Environment Collins Nzovu that the country is likely to experience erratic rainfall patterns during the 2023-2024 rainy season.
The country has been experiencing erratic rainfall patterns for the past 5 years, and it is important for government to seek alternative sources of energy in order to alleviate the pain that ordinary Zambians are currently faced with, where each and every year they are experiencing load shedding time after time. But it's time for us as the Zambian people to start building ourselves and invest heavily in the manufacturing and production of solar panels so as to reduce the cost of importing these systems in the country, as well as to also alleviate the pain that ordinary Zambians are faced with. We need to look for other alternative sources to produce energy, and it's going to be very important for the country to look into solar energy. But the only way we can reduce the cost of solar panels is by us manufacturing solar panels as a country, because the raw materials used to produce solar panels are widely available in Zambia. So it will be very important if we can start producing the solar panels in the long run, which will help alleviate the pain that ordinary Zambians are faced with when it comes to energy production, and also reliable as well as clean energy sources.
You're watching the main news on Camnet TV with me, Sylvia Zulu. We now take our first set of commercials. Do join me with more news after the break.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration, or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
In a world full of hatred, bitterness, revenge, and uncertainties, should there be a separation between the church and politics? Tune in to Camnet Television this coming Friday at 20:45 hours for biblical truth and the church position on the matter.
So our politicians just came and we took photos. People do think because they attended,
there was reconciliation, when there was no heart-to-heart sort of koinonia feeling where you really speak to each other, because that's what we need.
Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We now continue with more news. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Louis Mulube, says despite efforts that Africa is putting in place to curb common challenges, the continent still faces many hiccups that need to be addressed. Mr. Mulube says the challenges include high fertility and population growth rates, which is posing a threat to the achievement of demography, dividend, reduction of poverty and inequality, and the provision of quality and social services. Speaking at a 4-day Africa Population Summit Experts Committee, ECA Chief Social Policy Section, Saruban Sina, says in the last 10 years, the Addis Ababa Declaration had chances to scale up an initiative that would contribute to the Agenda 2063, but challenges have slowed down the process. United Nations Population Fund UNFPA representative Satunin AP says the Addis Ababa Declaration is positive, but the pace at which it is being implemented is too slow.
Of the population policies and programs and evidence-based policy making and planning becomes difficult. Today, we have a great responsibility and opportunity to review and suggest measures to address the challenges and the gaps in population and development in Africa.
The declaration has provided a unique opportunity to strengthen a regional impetus to scale up initiatives to harness the demographic dividend and contribute to the follow-up and review of the 2030 Agenda and our continental framework, the Agenda 2063. However, this work is occurring against a backdrop when progress towards most of the SDGs is off track.
On these will regress the gains made and further constrain future progress. So the only way is concerted, timely actions as a force for the journey ahead. Third, following the African Union decision to devote the theme of the year 2017 to harnessing the demographic dividend through investment in youth, the high-level political support galvanized may be shrinking due to competing priorities.
The Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, says it has arrested a total of 3,214 persons in the first 3 quarters of 2023 for various related offences. ACC Director General Nason Banda says among those arrested, 2,960 are Zambian males, 187 are Zambian females, 62 are foreign nationals, whereas 62 are males. Mr. Banda says on drug seizures, a total of 9.76 tons of cannabis hemp, 21.86 tons of cannabis plants, and 0.04 tons of cannabis seeds were seized. He says other drugs include 6.708 kilograms of cocaine, 3.63 kilograms of codeine, 34.94 kilograms of heroin, 44.3 kilograms of cat mirror, 7.02 kilograms of methamphetamine, and 40 kilograms of methamphetamine. The Commission Director General says there were also other smaller quantities recorded, which included 25.17 grams of diazepam and 40.05 grams of phenobarbital. Mr. Banda says the Anti-Money Laundering Investigations Unit, in collaboration with NPA, successfully managed to have a total of 81 properties forfeited to the state, including a total sum of 4.6 million kwacha and 1,091 United States dollars. In other news, the National Women's Lobby Group Chikankata District Chapter has hailed Chikankata Member of Parliament Jacqueline Sabao for holding the first ever open day with the constituents of Chikankata District. Held in Chikankata District of Southern Zambia, the interaction saw the lawmaker share some of the significant achievements, highlighting and initiatives that were currently being undertaken in the area. Women's Lobby of Chikankata District Chapter Representatives Lester Mbaza says he is happy that the lawmaker took time to interact with and hear the views and share the challenges shared by the Chikankata community. And Ms. Sabao says the construction of the Chikankata Secondary School, the construction of an agriculture shed in Nasenga, and the construction of a skills training center in the Upper Kalea were some of the key highlights of the developmental agenda of the district.
In Chikankata constituents, we have undertaken a series of significant initiatives aimed at fostering growth and development in our community. This project serves as a testament to our commitment to the well-being of our constituents. Each one of these endeavors reflects our vision for a brighter and more prosperous future and reminds us of the commitment of the New Dawn government under the leadership of His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to better the lives of every Zambian. However, I'll pause a bit here. There was a request from the audience that I explain on the WDC, the role of the WDC and the role of the CDF committee and what we are doing as a constituency. Because of that request, I'll try to explain in our local language.
Ndianda kutondeha ikukomana ikapati kuliba MP mbuli mwiminizi iwankamu yaba women's lobby alimwe agwimini neji nkoso ja Chikankata jonse ndianda kwamba kuti mwachichita ichita nachitikite mubumi bwa Zambia kuzwania nyagengwa kuno kuchikankata kambo kuzwaliri kunyinani twakajisijindi ichakwamba kuti ndiza ingava MP babola ikutalika kukanana kubantu babo bakabavotera twakomana imebo mbuli muiminizi waba Zambia National Women's Lobby.
We now take a final set of commercials and we'll be back with international and sports news. Stay glued.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
In a world full of hatred, bitterness, revenge, and uncertainties, should there be a separation between the church and politics? Tune in to Camnet Television this coming Friday at 20:45 hours for biblical truth and the church position on the matter.
So our politicians just came and we took photos. People do think because they attended, there was reconciliation when there was no heart-to-heart sort of koinonia feeling where you really speak to each other, because that's what we need.
Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you for still staying with us. And now for the rest of the news. In international news, DRC government troops and United Nations peacekeepers launched a joint operation aimed at reinforcing security around the capital of the North Kivu province, Goma. The city, as well as Nseko, faced threats from several armed groups, including from the M23 rebels, group which Congo accuses Rwanda of supporting. United Nations experts concluded in a report that Rwanda backs the M23, although Kigali denies the claim. The UN's force commander, Lieutenant General Octavio Rodrigues Filho from Brazil, was present Monday, November 6th at the launch of one of the joint patrol and emphasized his force's commitment to helping the Congolese troops. Here's a roundup of international news.
Some 600 Egyptian nationals residing illegally in Libya queued Monday outside the Tripoli-based Directorate of Combating Illegal Migration (DCIM) to receive a pass that would enable them to leave Libya. The Deputy for Security Affairs at the DCIM detailed the operation. A group of illegal Egyptian migrants will be deported from the premises of the Directorate of Combating Illegal Migration for having entered illegally the Libyan territory. Today, the number of illegal migrants being deported is of around 600 Egyptian nationals. The migrants embarked on a 1,375-kilometer-long journey to the Egyptian crossing facility of Esmaed on buses. Thousands of Egyptians have lived in Libya for years, many working in sectors including agriculture. Others tried to reach Europe. DRC government troops and United Nations peacekeepers launched a joint operation aimed at reinforcing security around the capital of the North Kivu province, Goma. The city, as well as Nseko, face threats from several armed groups, including from the M23 rebels. The UN force commander was in Nseko on Monday.
We have a full commitment with the protection of the citizens from DRC and all soldiers that are deployed here. They are here outside our bases because they are ready to die, if necessary, to protect the population from this country.
The new joint operation has established several fresh defensive positions, such as in the hilly terrain near Nseko. Fighting between local militia known as Wazalendo and M23 rebels have intensified. As the force commander said, we cannot leave the people of Goma and all the Congolese in particular in a situation of insecurity. We're going to provide security right up to the last minute. If the government tells us to leave, we'll do so. For the moment, we are shoulder to shoulder to ensure the security of the people of the DRC. Locals have protested against the MONUSCO, criticizing the UN force for failing to bring peace to the country's east and protect civilians from violence. The government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has called for MONUSCO to speed up its withdrawal. Goma has been under permanent threat for some time now. Now is not the time for MONUSCO to redeem itself or regain the trust of the population. We are very disappointed to see that our army accepts, or rather, that our government naively accepts this new offer from MONUSCO. MONUSCO has been here for over 20 years and has not been able to solve the security problems of the Congolese. MONUSCO took over from an earlier UN operation in 2010 to help quell insecurity as armed groups fight over territory and resources.
And now in sports news, Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta says it is his duty to defend the club after he criticized the officiating in the last Saturday's 1-0 defeat at Newcastle. He said the decision to allow Anthony Gordon's winner at St. James Park was embarrassing and a disgrace. Arsenal backed Ateta's comments in a club statement, which was called dangerous by Pundit Gary. 3 areas around Gordon's goal were checked by Saturday's video assistance referee VAR on 3 counts to see if the ball went out of the play in the build-up, if there was a foul, and if there was an offside, with all coming back in Newcastle's favour. The defeat at Newcastle ended Arsenal's unbeaten Premier League start, leaving them 4th and 3 points off leaders Manchester City. The Gunners host Selaville in Champions League Group B on Wednesday. That item brings us to the end of our main news. Here are the stories making headlines. 17 suspended members of parliament accuse government of trying to create a one-party state. John Sangwa denounces the recognition of Robert Chabinga. Law enforcement prompts vendors to reoccupy streets. In international news, DRC Army and UN forces launch Operation Springbok as M23 threatens key towns. And in sports news, Arsenal boss says it's his duty to defend the club after VAR controversy. We now look at a Camnet verse of the day coming from the book of Proverbs 15, verse 1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire Camnet News production crew, my name is Sylvia Zulu. Good night and God bless you.